All right, guys, so yesterday we did 1 through 5, and it's just all sorts of different linear and nonlinear solving systems of equations. You guys can use elimination, you can use substitution. On your quiz, I already made your quiz. On your quiz, it says solve using any method. So sometimes substitution lends itself, sometimes elimination lends itself, sometimes you guys only like to do it one certain way. Whatever you want to do is fine. And make sure, once you get your answers, what can you do with your answers to make sure you're right? Plug them back in, okay? So let's look at number 6. How's number 6 a little bit different?
Because you have an x squared and a y squared.
You have an x squared and a y squared, so you're probably going to get a bunch of different answers here, and that's okay. That's totally okay. Now, again, you can do anything you want, substitution, elimination. When you have everything squared, substitution's not really your best bet because then you have to take square roots and stuff like that. So in this case, we can eliminate the x's or the y's. Which one would you like to eliminate? The y's. How come the y's? Because it's just, all you have to do is change signs. If you wanted to do x, absolutely, what would you multiply the bottom one by? -4. All right, no big deal. So if I multiply this by -1, actually, let me do the top one so I can just write underneath. Again, remember, guys, it goes both sides of the equal sign. This ends up being -4x squared, right? Minus y squared equals -13. Everybody with me? You guys okay? Okay, so this isn't here anymore. What's x squared minus 3x squared? Just kidding. What's x squared minus 4x squared? -3x squared. I hate when I say the answer out loud. What happens to my y's? They cancel, and then I get 10 minus 13, -3. All right, I'm solving now for x. So what do I do? Divide both sides by -3, and I get x squared equals what? 1. How do I solve for just x? Take the square root. Guys, when you take the square root, what goes in front of your answer? So I get x equals plus or minus 1. Everybody with me? So how do I figure out what y equals? You plug it back in. Which one would be easier to plug into? The second one, okay? So I'm going to plug in where x equals 1, and I'm going to plug in where x equals -1. Again, you can do either one. So I'm going to say x squared plus y squared equals 10. So 1 plus y squared equals 10. You subtract 1 from both sides. I get y squared equals 9. Yes? Santi, make sure you're watching this, babe. Now what do? I take the square root, and I get y equals plus or minus 3. So guys, think about this. When I found 2 x values. When I plugged one of them in, how many y's did I get? 2. So when I write my ordered pair, when I plug in 1, I get +3. And when I plug in 1, I also get what? -3. You guys cannot leave it like this. If you leave your answers like this, I'm taking points off. I need them in ordered pairs so I know you know which goes with which. So just make sure you're doing that. Now we're going to do the exact same thing, but we're going to plug in -1. So I have, let me pick a different color. I like that one. So I have -1 squared plus y squared equals 10. 1 plus y squared equals 10. Y squared equals 9. So what's y equal? Plus or minus 3. Is that the exact same thing?
Yeah.
Yes, but is my x value the exact same thing? No. So this is -1, 3 and -1, -3. Those are 4 different solutions. 4 different places that these two, when they're graphed, intersect. Does everybody understand that? Okay, so this is what I need to see as your answer. Takes a little bit of time to just plug back in, and yet you guys need to take your time, okay? None of this math is beyond you. This is actually really like Algebra 2 plus, we'll say. I usually do this in the beginning of the year, but I thought this would be best to save till now since your brains have shut off, so it's a good idea. All right, let's look at numero 7. Oh, all right. This might be the hardest one we have to deal with. This is nasty. All right, what do?
Divide the y by x.
Okay, you want to, substitution's probably our best bet here because we're adding here and multiplying here. So want to solve for one of the variables. You guys want to do that? Which one do you want to solve for? Okay, so divide both sides by y. So x equals 4 over y. Everybody with me? So what do I do with this? I'm going to take this and put it right there. All right, this is the hardest math you're going to have to do, computation-wise. So I have, instead of x, I have 4 over y, and it's what? Squared. Plus what? 4y squared equals 20. All right, let's do some math. What happens with this 2? It goes where? Okay, so I have 16 over y squared plus 4y squared equals what? 20, okay.
Multiply both sides by y squared. That makes sense, or?
Hold on one second. I understand what you're saying because you want y squared out of the denominator, right?
And then we can like solve it.
But let's move, can we move this over first? Can I do that? So 16 over y squared equals negative 4y squared plus 20. Is that okay that I did that? Now, you want to multiply both sides by y squared? The reason I did it first was because if you didn't, then it could get a little messier. So this cancels, and I have 16 equals, well, what do I do with y squared? Distribute it. So I have negative 4y to the 4th plus 20 what? Y squared. Okay. Fair enough. Now what?
Take out negative 4y squared.
Okay, we can in 1 second. Do we have a quadratic of sorts?
Oh, so move the 16.
Move everything over. I'm going to move this stuff over here so it becomes the 4y becomes positive, whatever. So I'm going to have 4y to the 4th. When I move 20, what? This becomes minus, right? And then I have plus 16 equals 0. Now, can we factor this? What comes out of all three of these?
4.
I can take out a 4. So I'm going to divide out 4, 4, 4. So 4 out front. This becomes y to the 4th minus 5y squared plus what? Plus 4 equals 0. Can we factor this, guys? Yeah. What times what's going to give me y to the 4th?
Y squared.
Y squared and y squared. Okay. What times what's going to give me a positive 4 when I multiply, but a negative 5 when I add? Negative 4 and negative 1. Okay, I'm going to scoot this over here. So I still have my 4. Can I factor this anymore?
Yeah.
To what?
So y minus y plus 2, and then
Perfect. And then what about the other one?
y plus 1 minus.
And now what do I do with each piece?
Solve it.
Okay. Does 4 ever equal 0?
No.
So I have y equals negative 2, y equals positive 2, y equals negative 1, y equals positive 1. We got 4 different y's. Is that okay? Absolutely. Was that the only way to solve that? No, you could have done it a bunch of other ways. Now, I need to go back and I need to figure out what x is. So I'm going to go back to the original. Which would be the easier equation to plug in? The bottom one, x, y equals 4. So I'm going to do that right here. I'm going to say x times y equals 4. Negative 2x equals 4. So what does x equal in this case? Negative 2. So this ordered pair is negative 2 comma negative 2. Perfect. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to have x, y equals 4. So 2x equals 4. What does x equal? So when I plug in positive 2 for x, I get out positive 2 for y. All right. X, y equals 4. So x times 1 equals 4. So x equals what? Okay. So when I plug in x, I get out y. And x, y, oops, did I plug in negative?
Yeah. No, that one was positive. Just make this.
I'm going to make this one, look, up here. Okay, and then over here, I'll make this negative. Oops. Sorry. Negative, negative. Okay, equals 4. So negative x equals 4, so x equals what? Negative 4. So my answer is negative 4 comma negative 1. How many answers did I get?
4.
Perfect. Did I already know I was going to get 4 answers from the very beginning? It says right here, hey, I have 2 x's and I have 2 y's. That's just an algebra problem right there, kiddo. All right, last 2, and then we're done until word problems.
Are these word problems?
Yes, we're going to do this tomorrow. All right, again, elimination, substitution, whatever you want. Guys, if you're going to use elimination, make sure x's are on top of x's, y's are on top of y's, and equal sign then the numbers. So what's the easiest thing to do here? Top by 2. Perfect. So 2x minus 4y equals 6. Okay. 2x, negative 2x is 0. Cancel 0 equals 7. This is no solution. Perfect. This is an untrue statement, no solution. If you were to graph these two things, would they touch? No. Because the solution is where they cross. All right, let's do this one. What do you want to do? The first by negative 2?
Yeah.
Okay. So negative 4x plus 2y equals negative 2. So this cancels. This cancels. Infinite. So what this means, guys, what infinite solutions means is if you were to graph these, all right, I'm going to use light blue for this top equation. I'm going to use dark blue for the bottom one. If you were to graph them, here's the light blue one, and then here's the dark blue one. They're right on top of each other. So any point that you pick along these two lines will satisfy the equation. Any x, y that you put in will work for both of them. That's what that's saying. All right, sound good? You guys okay? Okay.